Unit 20, The Father of Sherlock Holmes. A physician who turned to writing, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle thought he would be remembered for his historical novels. His fame, however, rests on his creation of the master detective of fiction, the incomparable Sherlock Holmes. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was born in Edinburgh, Scotland, on May 22, 1859. He was the oldest son of Charles Doyle, a civil servant. His parents were Irish Roman Catholics, and he received his early education in a Jesuit school, Stonyhurst. Later, he earned a medical degree at Edinburgh University and started a practice as a family physician in South Sea, England. His income was small, so he began writing stories to make ends meet. In 1891, he gave up medicine to concentrate on his writing. Doyle was knighted in 1902 for his pamphlet justifying England's part in the Boer War, in which he served at a field hospital. He was married twice. The death of his son Kingsley in World War I intensified his interest in psychic phenomena, and in later years, he wrote and lectured on spiritualism. He died in Sussex, England, on July 7, 1930. A study in Scarlet, published in 1887, introduced Sherlock Holmes and his friend Dr. John Watson. The second Holmes story was The Sign of Four. In 1891, Doyle began a series for Strand magazine called The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Movie and television audiences have come to know Sherlock Holmes as a tall, lean, pipe-smoking, violin-playing detective. He lived at 221B Baker Street in London, where he was often visited by Watson, an associate in his many adventures. According to Doyle, it was Watson who recorded the Sherlock Holmes story for posterity. Doyle said he modeled Holmes after one of his teachers in Edinburgh, Dr. Joseph Bell. Bell could, for example, glance at a corpse on the anatomy table and deduce that the person had been a left-handed shoemaker. It is all very well to say that a man is clever, Doyle wrote, but the reader wants to see examples of it. Such examples as Bell gave us every day in the wards. Doyle eventually became bored with Holmes and arranged for him to be killed off in one of his stories. In response to readers' protests, Doyle wrote his next story explaining how the detective had miraculously survived the death struggle on the edge of a precipice. Doyle continued to write many stories about Holmes' exploits. Unit 21, A Strong Government. Soon after the United States won the Revolutionary War, various groups within the country became discontented. The government under the Articles of Confederation seemed weak. It could not control people at home or make the new republic respected abroad. The new government needed to be strong for the young nation to survive. One difficulty faced by the new government was that Congress did not have the power to raise money. It could only ask for money from the states, so as a result, it was always poor. Congress also had no authority to regulate commerce. Some states began laying tariffs and other burdens on the shipping trade of their neighbors. This caused problems. All states were supposed to abide by the Articles of Confederation, yet some states did not. They made treaties with the American Indians and agreements with each other. They ignored foreign treaties made by Congress and regulated the value of money. By 1785, many patriotic citizens thought that the government established by the Articles of Confederation was a failure. George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, James Madison, and other leaders repeatedly declared that the government should be strengthened. Some Americans had special reason for wanting a stronger government. One group was made of Westerners who, after the American Revolution, had moved into Kentucky, Tennessee, and the new Northwest Territory. These Westerners wanted a powerful federal government to protect them from the American Indians, the Spaniards, and the British. Others who speculated in Western lands believed that a stronger national government would make these lands more valuable. Another group that wanted a stronger government was composed of merchants, traders, and ship owners who suffered from tariff wars among the states and from injurious British laws. In addition, people who lent money to the government during the war or just after it felt that a stronger government would be more likely to repay them. Perhaps the most important group consisted of well-to-do business people who owned mortgages and notes. They wanted a strong national government to take complete control of the currency and to prevent any state laws from impairing the obligation of contracts. The United States Constitution was written in response to the need for a stronger government. It is the oldest written constitution among the major nations of the world, and the first to limit the powers that the federal government can exercise over its citizens.